Hello rail fans, this video is a month of rail fanning and trains that I've caught on the Front Range sub and Laramie sub through the end of November and early December. We're going to take a look at some locals, giant trains, and some unusual ones, so be sure to watch until the end. I'm your host Aiden Tucker, and let's get to it. Kicking off this month's issue is a BNSF H. Demlau, a train that runs from Denver, Colorado to Laurel, Montana, with the route spanning a total of 570 miles. This train starts on the Front Range sub, makes its way north onto the Canyon sub, and eventually moves on to the Casper sub, where it will stay until it reaches Laurel. We're here set up at the County Road 70 grade crossing on the northern side of Wellington, Colorado. Leading the charge is BNSF 6687, a General Electric ES44C4. Following behind is another BNSF GE ES44C4, numbered 4249. Lastly is Ferromex 4037, which is an EMD SD70 ACE built in May of 2011. On this train, I counted a total of 89 cars, which is actually fairly short for these trains. This train was caught on November 20th at 4:49 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Moving on, we would start a 2-day adventure of catching the locals that meet at North Yard in Fort Collins. We barely get there and see the Cheyenne local already getting to work. The locals were working today as the Longmont switch already left heading back to Longmont. Directing your attention back to the Cheyenne local, the power on this train is BNSF 8903, an EMD SD70 MAC built in the year of 1999. Accompanying 8903 is BNSF 9602, built in April of 1995. If you're a new rail fan, you might be wondering, why does 9602 have a different paint job? That's because the locomotive belonged to the Burlington Northern before it merged with the Santa Fe in 1996. This is just the remnants of its former self. We would head out to eat lunch, then catch the Cheyenne local going back north to Cheyenne. then drive back to Fort Collins to see the OMLX Fort Collins switcher heading back to Windsor. We would catch it where the UP Botcher branch would interchange with the GWR Greeley sub. Leading the train back is OMLX 408, which is a unique locomotive as it is former Southern Pacific SD45R, numbered 7524. Nowadays, the locomotive is a rebuilt SD40M-2, which is a normal SD40-2 and the SD45 car body. We then set up at Mason Street, which is a tricky spot because of how many people travel through there. We waited for about an hour until we see the Longmont switch show up. This train originates from Longmont's East Yard, then comes north passing through Berthoud, Campion, and Loveland, and then switches Fort Collins North Yard before heading back to Longmont for the day. Here we see BNSF 9948, an EMD SD70 MAC accompanied by BNSF 976. An H1-944CW. After a quick lunch, we then see the Longmont switch finished with its work and ready to head back to Longmont with BNSF 976 at the lead. After the Longmont switch left North Yard, we see something pretty unique. A sand train getting ready to go down the GWR. This train came off the BNSF brush sub into Denver. Then it came north on the Front Range sub, then terminated at North Yard. The front two locomotives would go as light power to Cheyenne, while the rear DPUs would take the train to Windsor via Great Western Railway. What was unique about this train was that the leading locomotive, BNSF 7519, was facing backwards. This meant that this ES44DC would take the sand train longhooding. Trailing behind 7519 is BNSF 5136, a General Electric -9 44CW. When the funky sand train is passed, OMLX 408, leading the Fort Collins switcher, appeared out of nowhere. Here we are at the LeMay Street crossing. You can see one of the railroad crews pretending he's on a scooter as he's riding the rear of the train. This was a fun touch and shows not everybody hates their job in the railroad industry. Later in the day, I would get word from a buddy that BNSF 4710, a fake bonnet -9, was leading a southbound H. Loudon. Since the H. Loudon is an exact opposite of the Denlau, the diagram I have pictured here can be used. Trailing behind BNSF 4710 is BNSF 5432, another GE-9 44CW, and last is BNSF 8115, a General Electric ES44C4. I counted 41 cars on this train, which is incredibly short compared to some Loudons I've caught in the past. I would soon get word that a Denlau was waiting at North Yard for this train to pass. We didn't wait long until a pretty good-sized Denlau came around the corner. Leading the charge was BNSF 6355, a GE ES44AC. Trailing behind is BNSF 8060, another GE but built as the ES44C4. Number 3 is Ferromex 4024, an EMD SD70ACE in FXE's new Zebra paint scheme. Number 4 is BNSF 8032, a GE ES44C4, and last is BNSF 6867, another GE ES44C4. I couldn't get a solid car count, but Denlaus are roughly about 100 to 130 cars long. This train would conclude the full 2 days of railfanning on the Northern Front Range sub. New day, new subdivision. We're here set up in Wycon, Wyoming on the UP Laramie sub, waiting on this westbound monster mixed freight train. Leading the train is UP 8602, an EMD SD70 ACE Thundercab. Trailing second is UP 7961, a GE C45 ACCTE, or ES44AC. UP likes to be weird and call their locomotives by different names. Trailing behind 7961 is UP 5392, another UP C45 ACCTE. Midway through this train, or roughly about 100 cars in, are two mid-DPUs, UP 2750 and UP 8169, two C45 ACCTEs. This train is going up a 1% grade, so you can hear these locomotives hard at work. gas, and I can see exhaust fumes in the air. The lone rear DPU is UP7080, a GE AC4400 CW that's been given a rebuild and the flag paint scheme. I got an awesome going away shot with some phenomenal engine sounds. Take a look and listen. It was the morning of December 17th, and I did my morning check of train alert just to see if there was anything coming. Sure enough, one of the alerts showed that a 5-locomotive Denlau would be coming up the FRS. So a few minutes later, and some convincing, we set up at County Road 68 in just a few minutes. On point of this train is BNSF 6320, a GE ES44AC. Trailing second and third is BNSF 7855 and BNSF 7813, both GE ES44 DCs. Trailing fourth is BNSF 9146, an EMD SD70 Ace, and last but not least is BNSF 5000, a GE-944 CW. If you can recall back in September or my last video, I caught BNSF 5000 leading a loaded Boeing train, so this was a nice surprise to see it again. I counted 125 cars on this train, which is actually pretty long for a Denlau, considering they're normally just over 100 cars long. To end off a very awesome month on the Northern Front Range sub came a coal train. This is quite a rarity for the Front Range ever since the mega coal train traffic stopped 2 years ago. Yes, there's still the Platte River coal train, but that route ends at the Rawhide Power Plant and doesn't come any further south. Leading this piece of Powder River beauty is BNSF 8475, an EMD SD70 ACE, accompanied by BNSF 8528, which is an EMD SD70 ACE-P4. The P4 stands for the Tier 4 credit given to the newer SD70 ACEs that meet the Tier 4 emission standards set by the EPA. The two rear DPUs are BNSF 5689 and BNSF 5633, which are two AC 4400 CWs. This train hauled a total of 128 cars. Since the train was northbound, it was empty. Most coal trains that depart Denver are usually empty. Thank you guys so much for watching this month's issue of Trains on the Western Pine Railfan channel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome train content. I'm your host, Aiden Tucker, and as always, get out there and railfan and have fun while you do it. I'll see you guys later in the next video.